What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Jedi and the Jar Jar podcast, episode number 5. We made it to 5. So hopefully this podcast rocks, because we all know that Empire Strikes Back is the best Star Wars movie. Just kidding. I want likes. Revenge of the Sith is the best.
The best Star Wars movie ever made. It's the one where Anakin Skywalker says, "In my point of view, the Jedi are evil."
Yep. Only a Sith deals in absolutes.
And now this podcast is doomed to have more dislikes than likes.
I love Revenge of the Sith, you guys know this, but yes. Empire has always been my favorite Star Wars movie.
It's objectively, I would say, I think everybody could probably look at Empire as objectively the best Star Wars movie.
Yeah, with everything that's going for it.
You could look at Revenge of the Sith and say it's the darkest chapter, it's the most dramatic, and there's some sort of, appeal to that. And it's not unwarranted. If that's what you like, that's what you like. It's certainly super dramatic, and there's characters that you've followed for a long time there that have their peaks in their stories.
The arc is coming to an end.
There is something satisfying about it. And it's definitely not a terrible movie. It's entertaining, like in a way that not any Star Wars movie actually is, in my opinion. It
goes places the other ones don't.
Yeah, it does. And it's got fun set pieces. It's good. It's not the end of the world as far as like movies go. It's certainly the best prequel movie they've made. But yeah,
I like Empire.
Yeah, but Empire Episode 5, the Jedi and the Jar Jar.
I think Empire Strikes Back is pretty flawless.
Yeah, it's hard to have any flaws with it. The
it's
only
just
flaws
so well
you can ever
rounded.
have are on a technical level. But even the last time I watched Empire, it wasn't that long ago, and all I could do was admire the visual effects.
It's great.
And yeah, it is.
Anyway, this
off track already
for real.
But hey.
That's what it be.
What you gonna do?
So let's get into some Star Wars news today. Kathleen Kennedy said that we will get a female Star Wars director sometime. Huh? I've never heard that before.
Wow. Okay. Yes, great. If you're gonna say it, do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't just say it and then never do it. That is something that we've seen Kathleen Kennedy do ever since Disney has bought Star Wars and they've started making movies. They've said, we want directors of color, we want directors that are women, and all they've done is hire white men and fire white men, and then hire new white men to cover the slack that the other white men had. And that's not to say that if you're a white man, you should never direct a movie. Obviously, there's nothing wrong with being a white man and directing a Star Wars movie. There is something wrong with lying to your audience and pandering and then never owning your word. It's just kind of frustrating to watch because it's so clearly deceptive, in my opinion, where it's like we're trying to get people to like us and our agenda and stuff like that, but then they don't even follow through with it. It's shady looking to me. But yeah, I think that the best script should win. So if you're the qualified person, you should direct the movie.
Exactly.
And if you're a woman and you're the qualified person, make the movie. I have no issue with that. I just don't like it when big studios pander to audiences and then don't even follow through with their pandering. It's like, at least have consistency.
With that said, though, it's like the Obi-Wan series will be directed or helmed by a woman. And I thought that she directed one of the best episodes of The Mandalorian.
Yeah, for sure. Like, there's no issue with it. Go for it. It's just,
I don't even think it should be made as such a big deal as it is.
Yeah, don't publicize it. Don't make it a big annoying thing. Just like do it, and then people will respect it if it's good quality. Just the agenda stuff drives me crazy.
Yeah, the same as well. Yeah. It doesn't have to be like this big massive event and a big showcase of like, wow, we're so woke, we're so forward.
Yeah.
Just like make a good, satisfying product, and like you said, let the best director and the most qualified person win. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's how it should work in the movie industry. And I don't know what it's been with this franchise in particular, how they're always running into problems with seemingly everything they make, and they're always firing directors. I don't know why it is that they can't pick the right people the first time. And I get it. Like, there are exceptions. There's always times where this happens in other movie industries or other companies. But nothing compared to what we've experienced with this franchise specifically. Who knows the reason for that? Maybe they're just constantly switching their goal as far as what they're trying to do with their franchise, and because of that they have to cut ties with people that they've been working with. And you could make an obvious connection that with the Game of Thrones writers, that their influence was too negative or something, or their their fan base was too negative to the point where they fired them because Game of Thrones, the last season, was very poorly received. So they don't want to have that be something attached to a Star Wars movie. So there's situations like that where you can kind of see it happening. But like other than that, they've had massive problems. But yeah, anyway, hire a woman. Go for it.
Yeah, same. Moving on, we have some pretty cool stuff as far as the comic books are going. I think the Star Wars comic books are going pretty strong, honestly.
Yeah.
There are some one-shots that I honestly don't care about, but a lot of the main story stuff, the new stuff with Vader that we'll be getting soon, that picks up with him right after the events of Empire Strikes Back, is pretty cool. And now we have a development on exactly how Maz Kanata got Anakin Skywalker's lightsaber, or Luke's lightsaber. Apparently, somebody actually caught it in the depths of Bespin, and it's the last panel, and it just says, "Follow your destiny." And I've speculated that it's a Force ghost. It could be a Force ghost Anakin.
Yeah.
Sorry, not Anakin. Obi-Wan. Because there were like comments made by Obi-Wan in Return of the Jedi, I believe, or it may have been even Empire Strikes Back, where it says, if you choose to face Vader, we cannot interfere. Something like that. I cannot interfere. So maybe it makes sense that Force ghosts could be there and they can interact with the physical, but they're not affecting the actual things that are going on, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like Luke Skywalker catching the lightsaber in The Rise of Skywalker. Clearly, Force ghosts can interact with the physical world. It's just, can they really make a difference on what people are going to do and decisions that they're going to make? There seems to be something there that we don't really know about that they can't really affect.
Yeah. So I've seen this panel, and it does make sense to me if it were to be a Force ghost for it to be Obi-Wan, because honestly, like, who else would it be?
The robes match, I should add that.
Yeah, like, and as far as players in the story goes, like, Obi-Wan's the only one that makes any sense to me. It's obviously not Yoda, that's for sure. I mean, he's not even dead by this point.
No, he's still alive.
Yeah, so like, but the thing that I'm curious about is in that image, he doesn't look like a ghost. He's
not completely.
Like
the back, it's deceiving. The background is mostly lit in blue.
Yeah.
So it could be where it's like, is he not? Because we've seen Force ghosts before, kind of appear not super Force ghost like, and then really Force ghost like.
Yeah.
Like in The Rise of Skywalker, Luke is really, really blue.
Yeah.
Like crazy blue. When in The Last Jedi, Yoda was more subdued. You know. So it's weird. It's hard to tell.
Yeah. That's just the visual language of cinema, too. You know, everybody is going to have a little bit of a different look when they direct a movie. You know, that just happens.
In other news, there's going to be probably a sequel to the Old Republic video games, which I think is pretty cool. I'm excited for that. Apparently, it won't be set in canon from what I've been hearing. It won't be. Which I think is fine. I think it's fine for Lucasfilm to continue these stories that aren't necessarily canon.
Yeah, I think that's, fun. It's kind of like if you look at the Marvel What If series that's going to come out. Like, yeah, why not toy around with some ideas that don't necessarily have some sort of massive impact on the universe? I don't really see anything wrong with that either. So, that sounds like fun.
Other than that, as far as Star Wars news is concerned, we really didn't get anything more about the Obi-Wan series. Just Ewan McGregor saying that it will, in fact, not be delayed, according to him, and they're just trying to get it all together and figure out what they're going to do, but it won't actually change the release date of the series.
Yeah. Which
I think is fine. And also, there's a new Star Wars novel coming following a younger teenage Poe Dameron, and I don't care.
Yeah, Poe Dameron is more of a comic relief character to me than anything. I'm not so invested with his origin story and how he came to fly X-Wings in the Resistance. You know, he's just not that interesting to me.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
He's fun in The Rise of Skywalker when they kind of tell you a little bit of his history, but like really how far do we need to take that character? It's like the same thing with the Cassian Andor series that they're going to have on Disney+. Yeah. It's like, why do we need to explore this character any further?
So
give me something interesting.
Yeah, exactly. Again, we've been hearing more rumors that the Rebels series sequel will actually be coming out again this year in a winter 2020. Ooh. That it could actually come out this year, and that they've been working on it for some time.
Yeah. I don't see why Star Wars wouldn't want to still be trying to put out content in that December block, because even though they don't have any movies coming out for the foreseeable future, maybe the next 2-3 years, why not have some sort of any Star Wars related media come out in that December chunk and make like that time of the year distinctly a Star Wars time of the year?
Yeah.
It's something that isn't very occupied by other franchises, which is actually pretty insane to me thinking back at it now, because Star Wars has been massively successful when they put it out in December. And something I've caught recently that I think is interesting was I, for some reason, believed that Star Wars was like this innovator as far as putting out content in December, because obviously big blockbusters come out in summertime, like May through August, and that's normally when big movies are the most successful. And I've learned that before The Force Awakens came out, which came out I think probably like December 20th or whatever the day was specifically, not only did Titanic come out on like December 17th of like 1999, whenever that movie came out, but Avatar came out like December 18th of like 2009. And those movies were both the highest grossing movie of all time. And then Star Wars occupied that spot, and they made a massive amount of money with their franchise. So it's like December is a definite time where people want to go watch something. And whether or not that's in a theater or whether or not it's on Disney Plus, I think it makes so much sense to put out content there and occupy that as your time of the year. Marvel does that pretty well with Avengers movies and stuff like that. There's not a single Avengers movie that doesn't come out between the time of like April 24th and May 5th. Like, it's always an Avengers movie there. It never comes out any other time of the year. Mm-hmm. So make December a distinct Star Wars time. Make it an event. Do it every year still. Make it put the Mandalorian season 2 out in December. I mean, it came out a little earlier than that this year, but that's because there was a movie coming out that it was going to compete with. So why not do that, right?
Yeah, the big theory right now is that Project Luminous is, like we've discussed before, is a big announcement time where they will announce like an official release date of the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, the Cassian Andor series, the Rebels finale, and even possibly a director of these new High Republic Star Wars movies that we've been hearing about.
That'd be cool.
So it's going to be like a huge announcement, apparently. As far as like a story on the Rebels sequel, where would you want to see it explored? What would you want to see explored? Because I've heard some little rumors and some leaks that I'll get into. But if you were in charge of taking this story somewhere, where would you take it?
One thing that I think of immediately, and it's because of there's a big truck honking its horn. I would love to see a sequel to Rebels kind of explore the Knights of Ren a little bit, because the Knights of Ren have been so underutilized, and it makes sense for the time period. I mean, there's a lot of time periods in Star Wars where the Knights of Ren have actually occupied. They've been around for a while, right? But why not explore that a little bit? Because The Rise of Skywalker does very little with them in the first place, and I would really like to see it, especially if there's going to be a, post Return of the Jedi Luke kind of forming his Jedi Temple or whatever, or helping Ahsoka find Ezra. Like, why not have the Knights of Ren be some form of antagonist? I think that'd be fun. And then the Darth Krayt stuff would be interesting. Oh wait, that's the Obi-Wan series, right? I'm getting my franchises confused. I think that would be cool.
I've just been reading up a little bit on Project Luminous, and it does appear that it's going to be like the announcement of the next slate, and like
that's important.
Even an announcement of like a next era. It says that Project Luminous is going to be like, okay, we're going to see a distinctive shift in the Star Wars content now. We're still going to give you the content like the Obi-Wan and the Rebels series sequel that you know.
Yeah.
But as far as comic books and other stuff, we're going to start releasing High Republic era material to get you guys more affiliated with that portion of the Star Wars universe. And so that is the big thing with Project Luminous. And how they're going to almost like soft rebrand Star Wars for this new era.
Yeah, I think that's the smartest thing they could do, as long as they actually do it. I think that big moves need a big announcement, and they should host their own events completely disconnected from any other thing, and spend a good hour or so explaining what they're doing, showing you people attached to the projects, and maybe even concept art, kind of give you some sort of visual aid to know what you're going to expect. And then like, you know, I mean they did that when Marvel introduced Guardians of the Galaxy, and nobody knew what the Guardians of the Galaxy were. They came out with concept art, and you saw a weird raccoon with a gun and a crazy-looking tree monster. And it's like, I don't know what that is, but it's kind of exciting. It's something I don't know, but I have an idea of what I should expect. And I think that Disney should pull a move similar to that. I mean, it's the same company.
This is all that's been said about it by the creative director behind Lucasfilm and behind this sort of initiative. He says, the team will also work alongside the Lucasfilm Story Group to craft the world in accordance with the current Star Wars canon. Project Luminous will be used to set up the future of Star Wars on screen.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's exciting. I mean, it'll be cool to see exactly what they come out with. I'm very curious to see if there are things they're going to announce that we have zero idea about.
Mm-hmm. It just says that, and I'm reading this from an article, it says, according to a group at Screen Rant, this new phase in Disney's expansion of the Star Wars universe with the creative minds over Lucasfilm will set up the next several years of Star Wars stories, potentially something so big it will impact the full multimedia landscape, ranging from the popular Star Wars comic series by Marvel, their award-winning video games, and most definitely their recently launched streaming service.
Yeah.
So.
That'll be cool.
And that is February 24th, I believe, is the official announcement.
Oh, wow. So that's coming
soon,
up.
Yeah.
What is that, like 3 weeks from now?
Something like that, uh-huh.
I think it's exactly 3 weeks from now, actually. Yeah, because February 3rd, 24th, 21 days. That'd be really cool to see. And like I said...
February 24th.
Yeah, the cool thing about these announcements is, you know, when there's smoke, there's fire. And the rumors that we're hearing are most likely at least a fair amount of it to be true. But what I am the most curious about is the things that there's no smoke for. You know, we could speculate on what series they're going to make and what they're going to do with their movies, but you never know what they could drop on us. And who's to say that, like, they're doing these High Republic movies, however many it might be, but that is not to say that they can't announce another anthology film that we have zero idea about.
In another time period.
In a completely other time period. It'll be interesting. And it's cool to see that we're going to get it so soon. And I think that's a pretty bold move. And I think it's an important move because in this time where there is still interest in this, because the movie isn't that old, it's only been out for a couple of months. It's still in theaters, I assume, at least in a lot of places. It's important for them to go, I know it looks like it's going away, but we're very much still here.
Right.
And here's our plan, and here's why you should be excited. And it's not
sort of like
Star Wars as usual.
Yeah, it's not the end where, like, with Marvel, it's like an endgame thing. I kind of view this as like the end of the Avengers, the first Avengers movie, where it's like, okay, we finished the story where we're comfortable, and we're about to crack crap open, you know?
Yeah, and we're going to throw some oddball moves at you. I do think that they need to let you know exactly what they have coming up.
Yeah.
Because there's no dates for any of this stuff, and there's not going to be a movie for a long time.
Yeah,
you don't want people to lose interest. So you need to be like, here's what's coming out on Disney Plus. Here's what's going to like satisfy that hunger that you're going to have for a little while until the next big movie comes out. Not that these Disney Plus series aren't satisfying in their own right, but they need to just show us, here's why you're gonna watch this next movie. Here's why you're gonna be on board.
Let's just briefly go over everything that's confirmed and rumored. So first up, Star Wars: The Clone Wars Season 7.
Yeah.
Then, if according to rumors, we'll get The Mandalorian Season 2.
When does Season 7 come out again? Because that's
this month.
Yeah, but what day? Do you remember?
Because
the day it comes out is going to be really close to that announcement, isn't it?
Correct. Which it obviously makes sense why they would want to do that. Yeah, you want to
have the interest.
The 21st.
The 21st, so 3 days before. That's pretty cool.
It's intelligent.
Yeah, it is.
Anyway, you have Season 7. You have The Mandalorian Season 2, confirmed for November.
Speculated Season 3 too, right?
Yep. Then you have, potentially this same year again, the Rebels sequel series, which could be a part of Project Luminous and be like, hey, you're getting The Mandalorian here, and also we're giving you the sequel series to Rebels, the first season of it.
And those would release at like the same time.
About a month apart. I bet The
apart.
Mandalorian would end and then the beginning of this new series would come in.
I think that would be the smartest move for them to have two different TV series that are episodic where you could generate the mass interest with The Mandalorian because that's something that everybody's going to watch. And then for them to say, hey, The Mandalorian season finale is this week. Guess what? We have a new animated series, and it's going to follow the events of Ahsoka and Luke Skywalker, and they're going to be looking out, trying to find Ezra next week. If you want more Star Wars, it's coming. It's not something you've seen before, and you might very much enjoy it.
Right.
Like I think that's the best way to generate that sort of interest.
And following that, we have the Cassian Andor series and the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, which are going to release at unknown times. I've heard different things. I've heard that the Obi-Wan series is going to release first because they're currently in production at that, which I think makes sense. And then the Cassian Andor series would follow. So I think that's what's going to happen. But both of those projects are confirmed. We've heard nothing about the Cassian Andor series, and I would not be surprised if they eventually decide to scrap it.
If they do decide to scrap it,
I feel fine.
Yeah, who cares? That being said, I do think the right move would be if for some reason you really have faith in this franchise and you actually believe you could tell
this section of this franchise, this character.
If you believe that you could actually tell a good story with him and have a compelling, interesting TV show, and you believe in it, that's great. Make the TV show. I'm willing to watch it and give you a chance. But if you want to put that out, put it out after a second season of The Mandalorian and the first season, or probably only season, of the Obi-Wan series, because you need to definitely build faith with the fans that these series are going to be worth watching, and that's, I think, the only way you're going to get eyes on this Cassian Andor series. You need to give them a reason to trust you. Give them 3 good seasons of TV before they watch this thing that they're not interested in, because maybe they will be by then. But if you put that out before Obi-Wan, I don't see it being that successful.
Yeah, me neither.
I don't know why they would ever have this idea to make this series. I don't know what story they could tell. I have zero clue why they're doing it. But
anyway, though, that leads us directly into the first High Republic era movie.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much everything that we know about from Star Wars.
Yeah. And
it's
I'm sure
confirmed.
They'll make another Star Wars Resistance-esque show at some point, too.
You think so? Yeah.
Yeah, they'll drop something where we're all just like, who cares? But
yeah. So I think if all of those projects, conceptually, I think is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Everything else is pretty much a wild rumor. The biggest oddball and rumor here is the sequel to Rebels, I would say.
Yeah.
But everything else is pretty concrete. And we'll be getting comic books as well. So
yeah. And those will be interesting. The comic books have been more interesting than the movies lately.
Yeah, the Darth Vader comic books are great. I'm really enjoying The Rise of Kylo Ren. We're only 2 issues deep, but I like it just as much.
The Rise of Kylo Ren gives you so much information about these sequel trilogy movies that you just wish were in the movies because it's really compelling and cool.
I agree. Anyway, that's about all I have. What's our time looking like?
23 minutes.
All right.
Sweet.
Yeah. Anything else you want to say? Anything else you want to add?
No, not really. I just think that, it's exciting to be a Star Wars fan right now and to be in this transitional period where we could really watch this franchise hopefully grow in some big ways. And, if they are successful in these concepts that they're showing us, it's definitely going to be a real fun time for all of us. You know what I mean? Like if
they can execute.
If they could execute. It seems to me that slowly Disney is kind of grabbing the bull by the horns, understanding the fans a little bit more on what we want, and giving us those products. And whenever there's a thing that people think that maybe the fans aren't going to respond to, it seems like they are kind of taking them away. And hopefully it continues down that path, and hopefully they do it right. The Mandalorian is great. Rise of Skywalker is pretty good. And video games, comic books, all that stuff are generally consistently pretty good in the first place. But I think they're hopefully getting the bigger picture here as far as how they should operate this franchise. And we will be rewarded if we stick around. And if it goes south, it goes south. But I think it's sounding like they are really thinking about their next steps. And it'll be fun to see this Project Luminous thing unfold. It'll be fun to see what we don't know unfold.
Yeah, and that'll be really soon, guys.
Yeah, so 3 weeks from now, definitely tune into what you will hopefully be like episode 8 or 9.
Yeah. Hey, we've been on every week.
No, we've done it. We've been pretty consistent.
Episode 5, that's pretty...
Yeah, 5. You know what? I'm sure that, the Bad Batch is 4 people, right? They do a lot of stuff. So, like, think of what you could get done with 5 episodes.
Thank you guys so much for watching. We love you. We appreciate you.
Yes, very much.
We don't know how the last podcast did, but if you're interested, check that out. We talk a whole lot. There was more news in that podcast, a whole lot more news.
Yeah.
We talked about the George Lucas saying that he would return to Star Wars and other fun little details.
What a guy.
What a guy. Anyway, my friends, thanks so much for watching. May the Force be with you, and have a great day.